does that even mean, Bauer's Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today I'm very excited to be checking out The Chameleon from Big Potato Games and also from the creator of Coup. Ooh, one of my favorite games of all time. This is for 3 to 8 players, ages 14 plus. It'll take about 15 minutes to play. And in The Chameleon, you are going to be at a table, and everyone at that table is going to know what a specific word is, except for one person, who is the chameleon. The chameleon is going to try to blend in and potentially guess what that word is at the end of a round. The rounds go by quick. They buttered me up with my own custom box, which, is super fancy, and I've liked most of the games that Big Potato has come out with. I love Coup. But does that make this game good? Let's open it up, and I'll tell you what I think. Alright then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of The Chameleon. So first and foremost, we get our handy dandy rule sheet. 1 page, double-sided, full color, very well done. Should have you up and running in no time at all. The back is for just if you have 3, 7, 8 players, or if you want to keep score. This is really all you're going to need, and I can teach you how to play right now because it's a very simple game. So in The Chameleon, you are going to have a topic put out in front of you. Children's books, fairy tales, under the sea, zoo, transport, rooms, world wonders, phobias, games, all sorts of different things like that. You're going to, once each round, pick one of these and put it out in the center like so. So we'll put out Under the Sea. Under the sea. And you're going to set all the rest of the cards over to the side for now. Next, depending on how many players you have, you're going to deal out that many of this card. So we'll set up a 4-player game right now. So if we want to set up a 4-player game, we have to make sure we take out the chameleon, because you always will have a chameleon. And then you're going to take out 3 of these cards right here. And if you're going to play with 4 players the entire time, no one else is going to join you, you can take all these cards, you can put them back in the box, you won't need them anymore. So, you're going to shuffle up these 4 cards so that you do not know which card is the chameleon, and then you're going to deal them out to everyone at the table like so. So, in the chameleon, what's going to happen is 3 of you are going to be assigned a word on this particular card, and you are going to know what that word is. One person, though, is not going to know what that word is. So, their job is twofold. They're going to try and figure out what that word is, or /and they're going to try and blend in so that you won't know that they don't know the word. So now everyone's got their 4 cards. What you're going to do is you're going to roll these 2 dice right here, and then you're going to flip over your card very secretly to figure out what the word is. Everyone at the table has the same word in the same cards. So let's take a look. 2 different cards. We go to 2, or excuse me, we go to 5, then we'll go to 2. So C3, C3. These 2 players would both know that it is C3, which is seahorse. So our word will be seahorse. So this person knows it's seahorse. This person knows it's seahorse. This person knows it's seahorse. This person, haha, is the chameleon, and they do not know it's seahorse. So they're probably sweating bullets right now. So what's going to happen is, starting with the first player, each player is going to give a slight clue to let everyone else know that they are not the chameleon, and they know that the word is seahorse. So they have to give a clue related to the word seahorse. So here's the crux of this game. You want to try and let everyone else know that you're not the chameleon, but you can't let the chameleon know what the word is. So for instance, this one, I might say biscuit. And by me saying biscuit, I'm referencing to Seabiscuit, the famous horse that was a racer, but also if anyone else knows about Seabiscuit, then they might put 2 and 2 together and get seahorse. So I'm hoping that the chameleon is not going to figure out biscuit is the seahorse, because that is a pretty obscure clue. But you want to make sure that you don't outkick your coverage, because if no one else understands what you're saying when you're saying biscuit, then they would obviously think you are the chameleon as well. So I would say biscuit. This guy would go swims, at which point someone would say, oh, great one, Ricky. All of them swim. They live under the sea. We hate you. This person now is like sweating, and they're like, let's just see. If I was sitting in that position, I might go fish. I might go fish, because I feel like that's a really generic clue. And most of these things probably eat fish. So I could be like, yeah, I was going with what they eat or what they swim like or something like that. And then this person, might say, I don't know, potato. I don't know. They say something random. So once everyone has done that, Now it is on the job of the group to figure out a majority and vote for who they think the chameleon is. And they're just going to simply just put up their hands and vote for who they want. Now, if you're playing with the scoring, how it works is if you pick the wrong person. So let's say that because this person ruined the game because they're a moron, they said potato and everyone picked this person, then the chameleon is going to score 2 points because they do not get detected. They flip it over and say, haha, thanks, Ricky, for saying potato because you're a freaking idiot. Now, if the chameleon is caught, then they have one chance to try and guess the secret word. So if they guess the secret word and they say, oh yeah, sea biscuit, seahorse, I know it's a seahorse, then they will get 1 point and nobody else gets any points at all. Now, if the chameleon is caught and doesn't guess the secret word, then everyone else aside from the chameleon is going to get 2 points, and you play until someone has 5 points. Once you're done with this, all you do is you take this topic card, throw it off to the side, get a new topic card. Ooh, beating bands. I haven't played with that one yet. You shuffle these back up, so you, in theory, should have a new chameleon. Roll up the dice, and you're going to rinse, wash, and repeat until you go to 4 points until you get tired of playing the game, whichever one may come first. Now, I do want to mention there are some special rules. If you're playing with 3 players, the chameleon gets 2 guesses at the end of the thing to try and figure out what the word is. And if you're playing with 7 or 8 players, after everyone's looked at this, you're supposed to flip it down because then the chameleon is going to get a lot of clues to try and figure out what the band is in this circumstance. So they don't need to look at this because it might just be too specific. But that in a nutshell is what you're going to get inside of the Chameleon. Alrighty then, the Chameleon from Big Potato Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. Before we do that, I do want to mention 2 things I forgot to mention in the middle part. First and foremost, there is a secondary set of these cards right here, the ones that have the chameleon and the different die rolls on the back. That's just so that if you memorize certain roles in the blue cards, you can switch over to the green cards. That's the only real difference. It's a nice added feature. I don't think I'll personally ever use it, but hey, if you play this enough, that is a nice feature. Now, the thing I really do like, though, is they come with one extra really large topic card that you can fill in with this dry erase marker, which is a pretty decent dry erase marker. So you can put in, names of people everybody knows, or just whatever words you want to. And this is something I really do enjoy. And once you know how to play, I think this is a really fun way to extend the game out. We actually played at this where we just named people we all knew and we played it, and it was really fun, really interesting, so big fan of that. But let's talk about the pros, let's talk about the cons. So first, it's 3 to 8 players, which sounds like it's a great player count. But that being said, I don't think I'd ever really recommend this as a 3-player game. It's from the designer of Coup, and I feel the exact same way about Coup. I like it best at 5, 6, 7, 8 players, but I'm really not interested this game as a 3-player game. But it is good to learn at a small player count like that, which I did enjoy. And I don't think it's a bad game at 3 players. It's just not for me. Now, moving at the 7 and 8 player count, they do even address this on the back. I would say probably the ideal player count is 5 or 6 players, because once you get to 7 and 8 players, it becomes really easy to guess what the word is, especially if just one person gives too specific of a clue. And what you do if you're playing with 7 and 8 players is normally everyone would have the topics face up, so you could look at them throughout the round. However, at 7 and 8 players, you just flip it down, so it makes it a little bit more difficult for the chameleon. But with that being said, most of the time what we found in a 7 and 8 player game was that the chameleon was probably going to be able to figure out the words just based on 1 or 2 people giving clues that were too specific. Another con that I have with this game is that if you're the first person to go, it can be really difficult to give those clues out. And that's going to frustrate some people, especially newer people. Like if you're playing with a non-gamer and they're the first chameleon and they have to give the first clue, they're just going to be like, I don't know. And that can be frustrating. A very similar game called Spyfall, which I'm actually about to talk about for another minute or two, in a minute or two, is very similar in that aspect. And let's just talk about Spyfall now, because I feel like this is going to get a lot of comparisons to Spyfall. So Spyfall is another game, actually I think it's sold at Target, from Cryptozoic and Hobby World, which does have a lot of similarities to this game. So in Spyfall, you're going to be at a set location, and everyone except for one person is going to know where that location is, and that one person is going to try and figure out where they are based on questions and answers that other people are going to get. Now, the difference between that game and this one, and the big difference, there's a couple big differences, is first and foremost, in this game, it's just a specific word. And also in this game, you don't have to answer any questions. In Spyfall, people would directly ask you questions about the word. Whereas in this game, you just have to think of one clue in your head and then give your clue. There's nobody questioning you until the very end when you're trying to figure out who the chameleon is. Also, another big difference is that game has specific roles you can play at, which I think makes that game slightly better than this one, because that game has a higher ceiling, in my personal opinion, because it can create some absolutely hilarious moments, especially if everyone knows what they're doing. Whereas this game, it's not really going to create hilarious moments because the rounds are going to go by so quickly. Yeah, you might laugh at somebody for giving, a way too obvious clue or giving a terrible clue, but I wouldn't consider this a hilarious game by any stretch of the imagination. But I'll talk more about that in a second. Last con that I have with this game is that some people are going to be immediately turned off by the art style. And I will admit this is not the art style for me, partially because I cannot read these things. I have a really hard time doing the 3D things where you squint your eyes and tilt your head and see the picture of the dragon eating the dinosaur in 3D or whatnot. So much so that apparently, I have my own custom box here. It actually says Forest Chameleon, which I thought was super cool. Once someone informed me that it says Forest Chameleon because I could not read it. And then I spent the next minute wait, what? Does it really say that? And I was like, oh, it does! That's super cool. By the way, a great way to butter up a reviewer, I guess. But I digress. I feel like that art style is going to turn off a lot of people, but I do want to mention that being able to see in 3D is not going to help you or hurt you at all in this game. It's just the art style they chose to try and catch people's eyes, which I think at Target actually is going to work. I think people are going to be immediately drawn to this game because of this art style. And I'm really excited to see if this becomes a popular game and see if maybe it's because of the art style, in addition to the fact that it is a rock-solid game, which, moving on to the pros, I can tell you I really enjoyed the Chameleon. Now, I love Spyfall, and I still think Spyfall is a better game, but that being said, I feel like both of these games have room on my shelf because I feel like this is a much more versatile game. Now, one particular comment that I like to make on a lot of games when I review them is that a game is a chameleon game. And the Chameleon, coincidentally enough, is a really good chameleon game. I feel like I could take this to a game night and play this as a lightweight filler, and people are going to enjoy it. I probably played it with about 10 to 15 gamers now, and they all were like, yeah, that game's okay. I like that game. I would play that game again, which says a lot. But at the same time, I feel like I could really play this with non-gamers or gateway gamers, which, turning back to Spyfall, I do not feel that way. I hate teaching Spyfall to other people. And I've had Spyfall fall absolutely flat on its face a number of times. I'd say 3, 4, 5 times, which is never fun when that happens, just because it's more difficult to teach, and you really need to be more creative in that game, especially when people start asking you questions, and then you have to turn around and ask other people questions. Whereas in this game, all you have to do is just think of that one clue. Get one clue in your head and say that clue, and you can even repeat the same clue that somebody else said, even though it will make you look incredibly guilty. I like how easy this game is to learn. I like how easy this game is to teach. I like how easy this game is to set up. This is the kind of game where I can have this set up and I can have this game ready to go in less than a minute. I can probably teach it in less than 2 or 3 minutes, which is nice. I like how quick the rounds go by as well, because if someone ruins it, if somebody ruins the round, maybe they, accidentally give a clue that's way too specific, if they let the cat out of the bag that they're the chameleon, it's no big thing. You reshuffle those cards, you get a new topic, and you can get right back on the road, which is something I like, and I feel like it really works well, especially in a party game setting. Honestly, I feel like this is the perfect kind of game to have at Target, coincidentally enough. As much as I would love to see some big, meaty Twilight Imperiums, I want to see Kingsburg, Vast the Crystal Caverns, at Target, I know that is not the primary market they're selling to at Target. This game really strokes that market, I think. This game is easy enough to learn. It's easy enough to teach. You could sit down 5 or 6 non-gamers who, never played anything except for maybe a Cards Against Humanity or a Tiddlywinks or something like that. I don't know what those are the 2 games that came to my mind. And I feel like they could easily figure this game out, but at the same time, it still has enough gamerisms in it to keep gamers intrigued. Party game, yes. Family game, yes. Lightweight filler game, yes. Gateway game, yes. I'm going to start taking this to my yearly youth retreats that I go to with 10 to 13-year-olds and with teenagers, and I think it's a great fit there as well. Overall, The Chameleon, while I don't think it's as good as Spyfall on a personal level, I still think it is a great game that you might want to check out if you play with anybody really. As long as you're not playing with specifically smaller groups of players, I think I can easily recommend you check out The Chameleon, one that I personally am going to keep on my shelf, not just because it's got my name on the box, but also because it's a rock-solid game. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. Can you read it? Can you read it? I can't. I can't, and it drives me crazy. I have to like turn it at the very perfect angle, and then I have to get this just the perfect amount of light, and then I can kind of see it, but for the most part, no, I can't do it. But can you do it? Can you see the schooner? Let me know in the comments below, and as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.